Good evening. This is Carolyn, and we are going to make another card this evening. I realized today that I needed 3 sympathy cards. We have had 3 men in our church pass away, and so with COVID, and 2 of them passed away on Christmas Eve. 1 of them was last week. So anyway, I needed some sympathy cards, and I needed them pretty quickly, so I'm just going to do 3 alike. I've already made one, and so our cards are going to look something like this. Maybe not all exactly alike, but something similar to that. And so I pulled out some paper that I had that I don't even know where this came from, but it just kind of had this lacy looking background. And then I had some of this pearlized cardstock in kind of a taupe color that I thought would make a pretty card. It's just kind of a beige inside. And so that's going to be our card, and then this is going to be our layer. And I used 3 different die cuts. This is a Hero Arts die cut, and there in that package there was a stamp for peace, a stamp for joy, some sentiments, and then the die cuts for the peace and joy in these big words. And I've used them a lot. They're great set of die cuts. And then I'm using these leaves. They're to be used in the negative, but I'm actually I'll show you how I'm going to use them. And they are a Sizzix. My daughter got me these for Christmas, and I absolutely just think they're beautiful. And so I'm going to use them in a little bit different way than just in the negative, the way were designed to. And then I use this Tim Holtz set all the time. All I'm going to use on this one is a couple of the flowers that I'm going to just kind of make to cover where I join these leaves. These leaves are going to be more like flower petals in a way. I just used part of a flower there and there just to kind of join those leaves together. So to start with, I'm gonna show you how many. I've already run these through the die cut. I've already cut the piece out. I've already printed my little handmade by Carolyn Weston. I've already cut the flower pieces, and I've already done what I'm going to put on the inside, and I'll read that to you in just a minute. But to get started, I just need to pull these die cuts off and show you how I'm going to do these leaves. This isn't exactly how this set is intended to be used, but it's how I want to use it today. I hope all of you had a great Christmas. We had an absolutely awesome Christmas. There are 11 of us, my son, daughter-in-law, and their 2 little boys, and my daughter and son-in-law and their 4 little boys, and then me. And we are together all the time, so we aren't around very many other people very much, but we are together all the time. And so they actually spent the night with me here at my house on Christmas Eve, and then we get up Christmas morning, and it's really a fun time. My little grandsons range from 5 to 8, so they're at a really fun time. And we usually do some kind of Christmas video or something and really talk about the meaning of Christmas. Normally we have a candlelight service at our church, and this year we did not have that because of COVID, and it just didn't seem right to not have that. Okay, I have all of these punched out and cleaned out, and so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do in order to make these. I've got one little piece I'm struggling with there. Okay, I'm just going to take my scissors and just literally cut a little narrow edging on these so that they'll hold together and be like an embellishment, instead of cutting them out the way they were designed to be cut out just out of the card itself with some kind of backing behind it. But I decided for this card that I wanted to do them this way. So it'll take me just a minute to get those cut out. We said we were going to cut back this year. Well, we really intended to cut back this year on Christmas because we were going skiing. We had rented a house, a big house in Durango, Colorado, and it was the first time that we were ever going to take the boys skiing. I got COVID, and I came out of quarantine. Well, it depends on whether you say 10 days or 14 days. The doctor's office actually said 10 days, which would have been like Thanksgiving Day, but we said 14 just to be safe. And so it was after Thanksgiving when I came out of quarantine. And we just got afraid that someone else would get it. It's a really long drive. We live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, just outside of Fort Worth, and it would have been miserable if someone had gotten it, especially, I mean, adult or child, it didn't matter. So anyway, and didn't want to spend being in Colorado in quarantine. So long story short, we could not get our money back, but they did allow us to postpone it a year. So we will be going to Colorado skiing this time next year, if the Lord's willing and everything works out. So we were just so afraid that something would happen and we wouldn't be able to really enjoy it. So we were able to postpone it. But so we had planned on not getting very many gifts because the trip itself was so expensive, and that was going to be our Christmas. Well, then all of a sudden we're not going, and I mean it was literally just, you know, like a week and a half, 2 weeks before we were supposed to leave, that we were able to change those plans. So we had to get in gear and start getting Christmas. So it was kind of crazy. But we managed to get it done and had an awesome Christmas, and certainly had way too big a Christmas, as we always do. But we were able to help a couple of families this year. We always try to do, you know, angels and things like that, and teach the boys that it's really giving and helping and that spirit of Christmas and God's love that is the spirit of Christmas, and that it was God's gift to us. That is why we have Christmas, his gift to us of his son. And so it got very busy, though, right there at the last, with us trying to get Christmas together after thinking that we weren't going to be here. Okay, I almost have these cut out. This is a textured paper in kind of a pearlescent type thing. It's really a pretty paper. I don't know if you can see it real well, but it does have a glimmer with that pearlescent. It's really pretty. It makes these leaves pretty. I didn't realize until I started to video this that the Christmas card that I videoed was kind of monochromatic in these same colors, but it had the gold glitter. And now here I am doing another kind of monochromatic card in these same neutral tones. But I thought this would be really pretty for sympathy cards. Okay, so to start with, let's ink our edges. This inking around the edge really helps it stand out against this very similar color that the card itself is. The leaves and the card itself and the word prayer peace are all out of the same pearlescent paper. And then, of course, this little piece of, this is pretty thin. It may have actually been from a, I don't know if it was from a paper pad or if it was just some I had from somewhere. I've had this paper a long time. I think I just bought these sheets because I liked the kind of lacy background. This is just a little acid-free pigment ink that is a great color for these little neutral things. I like the vintage photo in the distress inks, but it had a little too much red in it for this. So that'll look really good against that. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this. This is just the little stamp that I have that says Cards Handmade by Carolyn Weston. And I think I've showed that to you before. I'll show it to you again. But it's really nice to be able to put on your card that it's handmade so people know that you took the time to make it for them. This is that stamp. I got it at Staples. Didn't cost hardly anything. And I really have enjoyed having that. So I'm going to put that aside. And I think I'll go ahead and glue that or put that on the back of my card. So just use my tape runner to attach this so I don't forget it. And usually I just stamp it directly on the card, but this pearlescent paper, it just doesn't want to dry. Stamping on this is difficult, and so I decided that I would just put it on the same paper that the front of the card is going to be out of. Okay, let's just put that aside for right now, and then we've got to decide how we're going to actually do this. Oh, this one worked out almost perfectly because I've got a line of right across, see that line of the lacy background, so maybe I can just use that to kind of accentuate the writing there. I've got to take these out. This paper, boy, it really goes into the die cut. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get out of them. I'm only going to use a part of these flowers. So one of them, I didn't even cut the whole thing. I was just cutting them out of scraps. And so I didn't even use the whole, I didn't even get the whole flower. I just need a part of it. They are really in that die cut. Okay, there's those. Those over there so I don't lose them. But I definitely think that piece needs to go right on that line since it's so perfectly just across there. And then we'll figure out where our leaves are going to go. So let's just go ahead and commit to where we're going to place that. I'm using the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. I tell you, I love this adhesive. I've used a little bit of everything. I've just never had one that I like as well as this. It dries, not only does it dry clear, it dries matte. And so even if you get it on your project, it dries clear and it dries matte. And so it just doesn't show. It is pretty amazing because I never, ever not get something on my project around the edges or where it, kind of mashes out or whatever. I always get it on it. And this just dries. It's very forgiving. Okay, let's get this right up here. Kind of center that with that line under it. And there we go. And it's really good and sticky. It dries very quickly. It's good and sticky. So your project, some of them, it takes it too long and it's just too wet. And Okay, so now we need to try to figure out how we want to do our leaves. I don't know. I haven't, let's see. I may do it a little different from what I did the other one. Let's see. Just placing these so that I can figure out where to glue them. Let's see if we can make maybe something like that. And then we'll put the little edge of the flower right there. And then we'll build the other one. Let's try that. So, let's see, I need to start with this one. I think I had better mark a little bit about where I want this to go so that I can get this in a similar position. If I just give myself a couple of dots, I think I can do that. I think I'm going to try this. I don't know how well it will stick. If you've not ever used these, this is amazing. It's called sticky dots, depending on the company you order from. But this is just like thousands of little micro dots. And you just put your die cut or whatever, and then you rub it so that those sticky dots stick to the back side. And then you pull it up, and it's now basically a sticker. And so let's see if it works on this material. Let's see, I think this was my dot, and that was my dot. Okay. Oh yeah, that works nicely. So let's use those for this. Okay. And you can just, it just about works for anything. You just lay it in between those layers and press. Make sure that the back side of your die cut is against the sticky side, those little sticky dots. And let me just go ahead and do this one while I'm in here. But this is just makes doing some of these really intricate die cuts so much easier than even the liquid adhesive, even a good liquid adhesive. So, okay, let's see what we got. Place that one something about like that. And maybe this one. Don't really think I want it to overlap that piece, but okay, there we go. And then I'll put just a little part of that flower over where those meet. All right, let's see what we want to do up here. Do we want it coming from the other direction? From the same direction? Let's see. Let's just see. My fingers are sticky. Keep pulling that away. All right. Let's see. Maybe even just 2 instead of 3 on that one. And I'll probably put some pieces around. But I'm kind of thinking that we might just do 2 up here instead of 3, which would give us our odd number of 5. So I think I might like that. So maybe something like that. And then we'll put some pieces coming in off of the edge. Let's try that. I've got something, one little thing of sticky right there, and it keeps catching everything. All right, so let's get these in here. You just rub them so that you know you're getting those dots adhered to the back, and they are so tiny that even these really intricate die cuts, you don't have the, like if you try to do tape runners or even your oh, what's that little thing called that you run it through, that makes it sticky on the back. Even those, it's just so much easier than doing those because they seem to have all of the tape, you know, in the negative parts. Okay, let's get this back out here and get this one down. Okay, and then let's get this one down. All right, now let's figure out how we want our flowers. These are really, I'm not calling these flowers, they're just kind of where we cover the part of the leaves where it all comes together. They are flowers, but that's not what they're to represent on this card anyway. I'll just put that on there and then trim it. There we go. Doesn't really need much, just a little something to cover that place where they all meet. Okay. All right. This card's going to be very flat. I usually do dimension, but as intricate as all this was, there wasn't really much of a way to do dimension. The only thing I could have done was to do maybe several layers on the word on piece. I could have put several layers of that to give it a little more dimension, but I just decided I needed these. I needed them quickly, and so I decided I would just leave them pretty simple. Okay, now then, let's see if we can just do some kind of partial leaves here that look pretty. I kind of like that. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to save that one, I think, for the inside. So I'll do these two with sticky on them and see what we can do with them. I think I just got these off of Amazon, and they're just called sticky dots. You can get them from Scrapbooking Made Simple, and I did get some from there, but it just takes so long to get them, to get your order filled from them, where the ones I got from Amazon I got just in a matter of a day or two. And they're basically the same thing. And they were pretty much the same price. Pretty much the same price. All right, let's just put one here, kind of coming off of the page, like so. And then maybe one down here. Just a little peak. Now let's trim those. There we go. And I mean, you could even do another one if you wanted to somewhere. Yes, I think I'll just go ahead and put that one right there. Okay. All right, so that is going to be the front of our card. I think I can trim that just a little closer there. Okay, there's the front of our card, all nice and neat. Like I said, this needed to be a really quick card because I need to get them in the mail. So let's just go ahead and adhere this to the front of the card, and then we are almost finished. And here's where I never get it straight. I just struggle with getting things straight. Don't stick. Okay, there we go, not too bad. Except I just put it on. Well, here we are, live, and I just put it on upside down. I turned the card. I know we all do things like that, but most of y'all are not filming a video when you do it. And whether I can get it off or not, I don't know, because I pressed it down pretty good. I was pretty proud that I had it straight. Let's see if we can get that off and turn it around. Maybe, maybe. Maybe, maybe. Yeah, it took a little. I think we'll be able to salvage this, however. That was not good, but you know what? I'm going to leave it in. We all do these things, and figuring out how to fix it. I've done stuff like that before, and literally just cut the front of the card off and used it as a mat, and just did a double mat. Let's see if I can get it right side up this time and get it anywhere near straight. Got sticky stuff stuck to me. Okay, they will never know. See there? They'll never know that I had that upside down at one point, will they? All right, now for the inside. And everyone who knows me know that I do a little devotional or something every time I do a video. And what I'm putting in this card today, I told you these were sympathy cards for some families of people that lost loved ones to COVID. And so a scripture that I chose to put in this is, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." I thought that was a good verse to put in the card. I lost my husband 6 years ago, and it is a time of confusion and fear and, just heartbreak and grief. But God does heal. You know, there isn't a day go by that I don't still think about him. I wish I had him back for sure. But I don't. But God fills our lives and gives us purpose and heals. And he gives us peace, that sweet, sweet peace. And so that is my prayer for them, is that God will just heal their hearts and give them peace. This is a time, you know, even if you haven't lost someone to COVID or to something else during these times, it's a time of insecurity and fear in a lot of people's lives. And so I just thought that was a good scripture, especially for these, but it's a good scripture for all of us for right now. So I decided to use one of those leaves just to go along with the scripture. And so there, and then I can sign it. I have room to write a little note. And so there we are, just a fast little card that hopefully will send some comfort and let them know that I was thinking of them and that I handmade them a card that that it came from my heart. So just give you some close-ups, and I went ahead and printed the scripture on this same paper. I just did it in bold so that it would show good. And then, of course, on the back, the handmade. So I hope you enjoyed making a card with me today, and have a happy new year. I hope you had a blessed Christmas, and God bless. We'll see you later.